So we're going to continue where we left off on page Samech Bet Amud Bet 62b. We're just going to read. I'm going to try to finish one part today and then jump to a different page where it's kind of connected and very interesting information to know. And anyways, I don't think we should continue next week with Noach. We'll go next week already to according to the order of the Parashat. So therefore, we'll try to just finish something here and
mark your spot, and then next year we'll continue on.
Bezrat Hashem. I hope that one day we'll get 10 hours a day to learn, and then you go through it. You really need to invest time in order to go through the entire Zohar of the Parashot. You need, I think, a good 3-4 hours a day to put into it, and then you're able to go through it. And that's without really going into commentaries and diving into it. It's kind of like going through it. So, but nevertheless, we're doing what we can. Tov. Yesterday we had the pleasure to talk about Gehenom and to understand where I don't want to go.
That's why we turn on.
That's why we turned on the air conditioning. But more important that we finished. I don't want to repeat everything we said yesterday, just so we can continue with the class. But we finished by saying that Noach walked into the Teva. Needless to say, how many different beautiful explanations is what does it mean walking into the Teva. But we concluded by saying that he brought into the Teva all the types of creatures, animals, and we know also that he brought in demons and spirits and everything else. We still left with the enigma, why would he bring the mosquitoes into the Teva with him? But nevertheless, they also got in there. And cockroaches and many other stuff. But it was we concluded by saying that Noach produced fruit. And we also learned that last week in the book of Parashat, that the trees that were placed in Gan Eden were already custom made, that they produce fruit, that the fruit already has in it the seed. This was the trick. This answer is the question of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. So the chicken comes first. And same thing here. What came first, the trees or the seeds? So it gives us a very clear answer in Sefer Bereshit. The trees came with the fruit, with the seeds in it. So the original ones were in Gan Eden, and then of course it started a cycle. Noach, not only that he brought in animals into the Teva, he brought all the types of trees and seeds. There is a place, I forgot where it's placed, but it's kind of like a lab. I think it's in Greenland or maybe somewhere in Sweden, I don't remember. They made an underground vault for what's going to happen after the world will be destroyed by a meteor, a nuclear attack, by anything, a flood. And they built this, Norway, right? Okay, so they built this underground vault that has everything in it. All the seeds of all the fruits, all types of everything. They have everything that if after the world gets destroyed, this is kind of like the Dora Flaga. They're building a backup, like as if Hashem can't destroy that if he wants to. But nevertheless, that's mankind. But nevertheless, they built this underground vault, and anything that exists in this world, they have backups of it. That after the huge flood, the nuclear war, whatever it is, the meteorites falling into Earth, that they can rebuild civilization. They're trying to do a Noach's Ark.
They also have
But nevertheless, Noach brought into the Teva not only animals, he also brought in trees, seeds, and everything, all the vegetation. And it says that when they came out of the Teva, then he renewed everything. Not only the animals, I mean, after all, only 2 animals came out of the Teva. Just imagine how quickly they had to multiply. But everything had to get renewed when Noach came out of the Teva, including all the souls. And we started explaining, and this is what we're going to talk about today, how the souls also go through some type of a process that is called impregnation, ibur. And the souls, when they come from the world above, because we know that the souls are rooted from the Sphira of Bina, but they still go through the Sphirot, and then they delivered from the Sphira of Yesod into the Sphira of Malchut, and they go through a process where they go through pregnancy, a spiritual pregnancy. Everything that you see in this world, it's because it's a manifestation of the world above. So if you take a man and a woman and you put them together with marital relations, then the woman will get pregnant. There'll be a process of 9 months of pregnancy, and then will come a child. This is only because the exact same thing is happening in the world above when there's a unity between the sfirot, a zivug, and after from that will be a birth of a soul. We're going to read a little bit what it's teaching us here, and then we'll see what we can take from that. So if you want to follow, we're in page 62b in Parashat Noach. The line starts with Tachaze, come and see. Kad hai etz ose pri, itchabar be'etz ose pri. Now, both in the book of Bereshit and in Noach, it's talking about a tree that does a fruit. Etz ose pri. Etz is a tree, ose pri makes a fruit. But what happens when a tree that makes fruit comes together with a tree that makes fruit? In the literal sense, in the physical world, doesn't make much sense. How can you take two trees and make fruits out of them? So here he explains, this is a more mystical explanation, to explain Yesod, when the Sphira of Yesod, that is considered a tree that makes fruit, not a tree with a trunk and leaves, rather a Sphira that can create a fruit. Now what happens when the Sphira of Yesod gets attached to the Sphira of Malchut? Shehi ke'etz shemegadlim bo haperot, and the Malchut is also a tree that does fruit. And the same way that a mother can hold in her, a mother can hold in her an embryo, the exact same way the souls that come from the Sphira of Yesod into the Sphira of Malchut, they stay there for 12 months before they come down. This is called the ibur. And ibur is an impregnation. The same way that the embryo is developing in the mother's womb for 9 months, the souls get developed in the Sphira of Malchut for 12 months. And not only that they get developed, they become complete. And this is why it's talking about that Yesod and Malchut is called a tree that makes fruit. That's why we know that the conclusion of the unity of the Sphirot is whatever manifested from the Sphira of Bina that went through the Sphirot of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Yesod is the basin, and Yesod transfers it into Malchut, and together they're able to create a being. Now he continues, and he says, Kol inun zinin dil'ela, all the types, all the species, so to say, from the world above, Az ha-malchut motzia kol minei neshamot milemala, the same way that Noach brought into the Teva different species, and then out of the Teva came the species. Just imagine now the 12 months in the Teva. That's not by chance or by fluke or by mistake, it was 12 months. It was 12 months. There are many, many different reasons. One of them is what we're explaining now, that the same way that the neshamot, the souls, have to be in the Malchut for 12 months to, so to say, be cooked, then all the species came into the Teva, and the same idea. The same way, the souls are in the world above in the Malchut, and they, so to say, get developed there. And the same way that the Teva spit out different species, then the Malchut also has the ability to spit, so to say, or to produce different types of species in the souls. We'll understand soon what it means. Shehem, they are Chevan, Ravravan, Uze'eran. These are animals that are small and big. Vechama zinin, and different types of species. Vechol chad lezine, and each one is an individual species. Kama dat amar, as it says, and he quotes now a verse in Tehillim, chapter 104, where it says, Chayot ktonot im gdolot, small animals and big animals. What David HaMelech was trying to tell us, now the Zohar is explaining what does it mean, Chayot ktonot im gdolot, small animals and big animals, meaning that there are different types of souls. And they're coming from 4 different roots. These roots, if you remember, we already went through this a few months ago in one of the classes where we explained how all types of souls, they come from the 6 sfirot of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, but each and every one of them is rooted in one of the faces that are on the chariot. And we were explaining which soul comes from which part of the faces on the chariot, that we know there's a face of a man, a face of a lion, a face of an eagle, and a face of an ox. If you want, go back to the class, it's posted online. We went into a deep explanation. I think we invested 3 classes about that. But here he says there are different types of souls, and they're all rooted in the 4 main animals that are called the big animals. And there's also souls that are coming from the small animals. What are these small animals? Shehem kama cheilot shetachat yadam. These are like subcategories of those 4 big animals. Which means that if you're looking at the kiseh, the platform, that it has 4 corners, and one corner is the face of a man, one corner is the face of an eagle, so forth, an ox and a lion. Each one of them has underneath it like subcategories. And it's called cheilot. Cheil is like a corps that you have, for example, in the Marine Corps. I don't know how it is in the American Army. I know how it is in the Israeli Army. In the Israeli Army, you'll have a division, and in a division, you'll have subdivisions, and in the subdivisions, you'll have platoons and brigades, and so it goes in a certain hierarchy. Same idea is in the world above. And over there, it starts with 4 roots, and each one of them has subcategories, and from them comes many different types of species. Bahem kama minim v'kol min lemino. Every species is a completely different entity. Kegavna, the same way, da Noach b'teva. That was in the same idea in the Teva. You can look at the script, the literal sense, and say the Teva was a wooden ark and so forth, but there's a spiritual manifestation to it, that the same way that the souls are coming from the world above into the sphere of Malchut and delivered into the sphere of from the sphere of Yesod into the sphere of Malchut, there was exactly the same thing in the Teva. And the Teva was considered a manifestation of the sphere of Malchut. Vechulhu, all of them, nafku min tevuta, they came out, all these small animals, it's called small animals, referring to all the different types of souls, they came out of the ark. Veitkayem alma kegavna dil'ela. And now the world was able to start developing. Because without animals and without vegetation, what's going to be in the world? I mean, the world's going to be kind of empty. So the same way that they came out of the Teva, that's, so to say, a replica of what's going on in the world above. Uveginei kach, and therefore, Noach ish adama ikrei. Noach was called the ish adama. Towards the middle of the parasha, if you remember, Noach goes out of the ark, and he's called the ish adama, because right away he planted a vine. Right away he invested in a winery. He says, oh, this is going to be a good business. These humans, I'm going to get them all drunk. So he has a copyright on wine. But nevertheless, so he's called the Ish Adama, a man of the ground, a man of the field. Why? Saying in other words, because Noach bebchinat Yesod. Noach is a manifestation of the sphere of Yesod, that the Yesod, hu Isha u'va'ala shel Malchut hanikret Adama. Malchut is called Adama, earth. Yesod is the husband of the earth. Yesod and Malchut together, they produce souls. So Noach was a manifestation of the sphere of Yesod, and the Malchut was the manifestation of the Adama. The Adama, I mean the ark. And together, they were able to produce new life into the world. That's why it says, Noach ish tzadik ikrei. He was called the ish tzadik, a righteous man. And we already explained that. Why was he called a tzaddik? Because he was rooted in the sphere of Yesod. And Yesod is called tzaddik. And we already explained that above that previously. Now we continue. Everything will be clear very soon. Now we continue and we read as follows. Rabbi Chia Amar, the Rabbi Chia said, Tlat mea shninin ad la'atei tofna. 300 years the Noach was warning the generation. Tofna hava, Noach itkari behu al ovadaihon velo havo sh'amin le. 300 years, Noach was doing a campaign and warning the generation about that there's going to be a flood. And needless to say, that nobody listened to him. Not only did nobody listen to him, their actions were corrupt, and they went and became worse and worse and worse.
They mocked him.
Excuse me?
They mocked him.
They mocked him, they made fun of him, and worse of all, they didn't listen to him, they just went worse. Now why 300? Where are we getting the 300 from? Noah was 600 years old when the flood started. 300 years prior, he learned all the laws of the dinim, of arayot, of forbidden relations. And all the dinim, all the laws of robbery, theft, gezel, and so forth. He sat and learned Torah. And then he learned all the punishments of all of them. 300 years he sat and learned. Then, this is the first 300 years. He was 600 years when the Mabul started. First 300 years, he learned all the laws. Ad Kuchabrichu, till Hashem. Ashlim Zimna, he completed the time. The Orichlon ve'itabidu me'alma. Till the Kadosh Baruch Hu added on that the 300 years that he was warning. How long was the time that he built the Teva? 120 years. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I will give them 120 years buffer. Let's see, it will take me 120 years to lose my patience. That's pretty good. So, and after that, since they had a 300-year warning, within that 300-year warning, 120 years they see with their own eyes the construction of a massive ark, and they still didn't change, then right away they didn't do a tshuva, so the Kadosh Baruch Hu said, that's it, you out. Tachazi, come and see. Ma ktiv le'ila. What does it says above that? Before this verse, what does it says? Vayehi ki hechel ha'adam larov. And we see that the humans, they started becoming, multiplied a lot. Al pnei ha'adama, they started filling out the land. Uvanot yuldu lahem, and they gave birth to girls. Why did it say girls? They also gave birth to boys. Why is the script saying they gave birth to girls? Who are these girls? Vehavo azlin artilain le'ennehon dechola. These girls, unfortunately, used to go very, I don't know what's the nice word to say it, very not snuot. I think that's the nicest way to say it, right? But in Aramaic, it says havo azlin. They used to walk artilain. That's naked. They used to walk naked. Le'ennehon dechola. They walked like South Beach. You know, not much. What? Not much. No, I said South Beach. No, not much fabric covering the body. The Zohar is not afraid saying rude things. The Zohar says artilain. Artilai is something that is naked. Why? And they walked le'enei kulhon. They walked in front of everybody. It was not a nice sight to see. They used to be very not modest. Let's put it this way. Now, what was the result? The men couldn't hold their urge. They see beautiful women walking around not covered. So the Yetzer Hara, the desire for lusting women, became worse and worse and worse. Ma aktiv, what is it? Why does it says Vayiru bnei ha'Elohim et bnot ha'adam? It says the sons of God saw the women. If you remember, there's different explanations for that. I gave last week two explanations. At the beginning of the week, two explanations. The first explanation I told you, bnei Elohim, it's referring to the judges, politicians, and the heads of the generation, and they used to take brides on their day of their wedding when they look the best and they're maked up and all that, and they would take them, have marital relations with them, and then throw them back to their husband. Go get married. This is one sin. The other thing is Bnei Elokim. It's referring to, I told you there were two angels, Uzzah and Azael. Some scripts call Uzzah Shamchazai. These were two angels that they came down to the world. They were supposed to kind of make a seder here, to make everything organized, but they also saw the women and they said, we don't want to be angels anymore, and they went and sinned with the women. Shamchazai, he did tshuva, but Azael, he stayed down here, he gave over his wings, he says, Salamat, I don't need this headache anymore, I'm staying here with the girls, And up until today, he's the klipa, he's the power of all the forbidden lusts and desires that we suffer from. And he's called Azazel, that's Azael. That's why on Yom Kippur we throw the goat to Azazel. But nevertheless, here he says another thing. When the Bnei Elokim, the sons of God, that they saw the women, they saw them, and by looking at them, they got them aroused to sin. And that was the foundation, the beginning of all their sins. When there's a pritzut, I don't know how you say it in English, when everything is exposed and no rules and no grounds, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was a period in the 70s or 60s, everything like you take whatever you want, whoever you want, one night here, one night there, dress however you want, do whatever you want, no rules, no nothing, and this causes a lot of problems, of course. So this was so to say, the foundation, the beginning of what caused them to sin. Now, once you're already filthy with this disgusting sin, then it causes them to become more sinful and more sinful and more disgusting and more impure. Till it caused them to become so low that the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, that's it, you're out, I'm destroying the world. Caused them to be completely uprooted from the world, which is not different from anything today. A person today that's what interests them, then they will go lower and lower and lower and lower till they lose their place in the universe. We talked about it yesterday. Nichreti me'haolam, the soul gets chopped off from the world. This is called karet. ובגין כך התמשכן באתר יצר הרע וגזעוי ושורשוי. That's why their yetzer hara became so powerful that it didn't affect them in an external way. It kind of like affected them in such a deep way that it's saying here in the root and the trunk, it went so deep that they were so attached to their yetzer hara that they were completely evil. And the roots, so to say, that it's talking about is the Sitra Acha. The Sitra Acha is the engine of all evil. And the Sitra Acha will be dressed as however he wants. And they were so low that they were so attached to the other side of holiness, there was almost no hope for them. V'dachu mehemnuta kadisha mibenaihu, and they pushed from them the holy Shechina, v'itavidu kama de'atmar, and they lost any type of belief. A person that doesn't have belief in this world, I mean, we're all suffering from choser emunah. We spoke about it already many times, that we have very little capacity of emunah. When everything goes well, then I believe in Hashem and everything is good. The first challenge that comes my way, my emunah jumps out of the window. And if the challenge is big, my emunah is this big, and the bigger the challenge, my emunah goes out of the picture. But there's reasons why I lose emunah. One of them is when a person lowers himself to such a low level of immorality, then by default they're not going to have emunah, because they push away the Shekhinah. The Kadosh Baruch Hu cannot stand forbidden types of relations, or in Hebrew it's called arayot. In English it will be any types of forbidden relations, or anything that is immoral. When it comes to the departments of marital relations, the Kadosh Baruch Hu says that I will not tolerate for 1 second. When Bilam tried to kill us, he saw nothing worked. You know what he told them? Send the girls. They'll take care of them. So, and why? Because he told Balak, their God cannot stand zima, when something is impure when it comes to marital relations. This is what ticks Hashem. Do anything you want. This is the department you don't want to annoy Hashem in. So they were so evil, they pushed away the Shekhinah away from them, by default caused them to lose emunah. If a person experiences a lot of choser emunah, they don't have belief, then you have to check yourself, where am I failing in that department that causes the Shekhinah to be moved away? If the Shekhinah is close to me, I have no problem with emunah. Avraham Avinu went through fire. Avraham Avinu went through walls, because his emunah was so powerful that nothing stopped him. If you have high level of belief, we spoke about it to this already many times. We know about Tanaim, about sages at the time of the Gemara, that they would walk through walls. Why? Because they're in such a high level that they brought themselves to believe there isn't even a wall here. If I can tell you now, you can walk through the wall, but you'll never walk through the wall because you have a block in your mind by saying, well, I can't. But if you will convince yourself that you can walk through the wall, your emunah is much stronger than any physical boundary, you will walk through walls. So we see that with our tzaddikim, that we saw that they did things that were unheard of. Why? Because emunah is above everything. And if you push away the Shekhinah away from you, then your emunah, the wrath of emunah, of belief in Hashem, goes lower and lower and lower. That's why you see now in the world, you go to most people, you tell them there's a God. You know there's a Olam Haba? Nonsense. I heard that already. Why? Because most of this world, 99.9999999% of this population of the world are attached and are afflicted with the impurity of immorality behavior when it comes to marital relations. Even from a young age. I mean, just the other day we were talking about something like that, and I told the person who talked to me, I said, what am I talking about? When I was in 5th grade already, I knew everything. I mean, kids in 5th, 6th grade, they know everything, they do everything. I mean, it's already affecting kids. So that's how bad the situation is. And listen, we can't ignore the reality. Now it's in such a open way that you have these parades. And why are you so proud to walk half naked in the street? This is not something to be proud of. I would be ashamed if I would be in that situation. But nevertheless, you see how it's all open. In Hebrew it's called pritzut, that everything is broken, everything is open. So that's the reason why the Shekhinah is being pushed away. And as a result, then we lose our faith in Hashem. That's what happened to them then. Uvegin kach, that's what was the result of that. Ketz kol basar. Any type of flesh, Hashem says that's it. I'm finishing with it. Ba lifnei le'alpha kategoria alayhu. What happens is that all the flesh, so to say, is trying to say in other words that anything that is fed from the sitra acha, from the other side of holiness, came to be uprooted from this world. Ba lifnei lelamed kitrug aleim. There was a kitrug, there was a persecution against them to a point that Hashem said, I had it up to here, I'm pulling the plug. That's what we need. We need to learn from that Chas v'shalom Hashem is not going to pull the plug on us. Now it continues and it says, Vayomer Elohim leNoach. Hashem told Noach, Ketz kol basar ba lifanai. The end of all flesh is coming in front of me. Rabbi Yehuda explains that. Rabbi Yehuda Patach, and he says, Hodieni Hashem kitzi umidat yamai mahi ed'a mechadel ani. This is a verse in Tehillim 39. What I just read. Hodieni Hashem kitzi. Tell me Hashem, when is my end? When am I leaving? Umidat yamai mahi. What is the measure of the length of my life? Eda mechadel ani. I will know where I have to stop. Can you imagine if you would have the knowledge when you're leaving the world? You would do tshuva a minute before that. You would say, I'll do whatever I want. A minute before, I'm doing tshuva. I explained once that Yaakov, when he was rebuking the tribes right before he left, we know that he was about to tell them when Mashiach is coming. רצה לגלות את הקץ, he wanted to tell them the date Mashiach is coming, ומיד נסתלקה דעתו. Right away, he got confused, so to say, and he forgot. So between us, Yaakov Avinu is not the type of individual that gets confused, is not the type of individual that forgets. He just made a very quick calculation. What benefit will it be if I announce the time when Mashiach is coming? There can be two types of reactions. The first reaction is that right away they fall into despair, saying, oh my gosh, we got to wait now 4,000 years? How are we going to survive? So the hope carried them throughout the time of the exile. But then he says it's even more dangerous. If I tell them when Mashiach is coming, you know what they're going to say? Let's go ahead and have fun, let's party, and like a year or two before Mashiach comes, we'll just do tshuva, and then we'll be good. So Hashem says, I'm sorry to tell you, there are certain things that I don't reveal, and one of them is how long you have in this world. That every given moment you have to be on your tippy toes, and I don't know what's going on here. If you would live with the knowledge that any second the plug is out, then you live your life completely different. You, not in fear, the point is not to live here in fear, is to cherish every moment. Most people, they complain, they whine, they I don't want to use other words to express what I'm trying to say, but most people are, they whine all day long. They're kvetching. But instead of saying every moment, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, you know what, we say it on autopilot. How are you? Baruch Hashem. Are you really saying Baruch Hashem? You really saying that? Or it's already stuck in your mouth, you're saying Baruch Hashem? Because that's usually the case. But if you would take every couple of moments to meditate on, oh my God, look, oh, wow, did you see that breath that I just took? Did you notice? Here comes another one. We're not grateful. We're not appreciative of every moment of our life. If we would have some type of a mechanism that reminds me that every second the switch can go down and I'm out, then I would be much more appreciative of my life here. And not only that, I will be much more active. There's no time to waste. But I'm going to waste it on nonsense right now. I don't know if tonight is the last night. Maybe I'll do another mitzvah. I'll learn another hour of Torah. So Rabbi Yehuda says, let's take this verse. And this verse is when David HaMelech prayed to Hashem that will let him know how long he has. I mean, David HaMelech it was praying constantly to Hashem, tell me when I'm going. Tell me when I'm going. And at some point, David HaMelech had such a zchut that Hashem somehow cracked under the pressure, and he told him, okay, I'm only going to tell you that you're going to die on a Shabbat. But he didn't tell him when. And we know that David HaMelech didn't stop praying and learning Torah for 1 second. And how did the Satan get him? For 1 second, David HaMelech stepped out, and boom, and the Satan, the Malach HaMavet took him out. But nevertheless, David HaMelech kept praying to Hashem because he knew that he's running on air. David HaMelech was not supposed to live. He got a loan of years. Adam HaRishon gave him 70 years. That's why Adam HaRishon was supposed to live 1,000 years. And Adam HaRishon lived 930 years. Because he gave 70 years to David HaMelech. So David HaMelech knew more or less what's going on, but he was constantly praying to Hashem, tell me when, I want to be prepared. And you know, Malach HaMavet was not able to take David HaMelech. He didn't sleep, he didn't rest, he didn't do anything. We just learned Torah all day long. So nevertheless, David HaMelech, why does he says, Eda Mechadel? I will know when is the end of this world, because Chadel is referring to the world. The world in Lashon Kodesh is called Chadel. And here we see that what did Hashem tell Noach? Ketz kol basar ba lifanai. The end of all flesh is coming in front of me. Amar David. David HaMelech says, Kamei kuchabrichu train kitzin. David HaMelech said in front of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, there are two ends. There are two kitzim. What are these two kitzim? Chad leyemina, chad lesmola. One on the right, one on the left. What does that mean? One of them is referring to Malchut. Malchut of the side of Kedusha. This is Ketz v'sof lekol ha-sfirot. This is the end of all the sfirot. There's no more sfirot after Malchut. Keter, Chochma, Bin, Adat, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yisod, Malchut. That's it. This is the first Ketz, the first end. Ve'echad lismol, one is on the other side. Shua nukba de klipa. This is the receiver, the female of the klipa. Haoseh Ketz lekol basar. That is able to bring death to the world. Because technically there shouldn't be death in the world. Because of the sin of Adam HaRishon, then he brought the option of death to the world. Very soon Mashiach is going to come. That's it. Ve'et ruach hatuma avir min haaretz. The Kadosh Baruch Hu takes the sitra acha, he slaughters him, and that's it. And then we're going to live for eternity. There's not going to be death anymore. So these are the two kitzim, the two ends, the last of all sfirot, and the ketz, the death of any type of flesh. Ve'inun trein orchin lemehach. And there are two paths that one can walk on. Trein orchin lemechar behu bnei nasha lehu alma. There are two paths how I can go from this world to the world above. There are two highways you can choose. You can choose Kvish 6 or Kvish Achov. Or in other terminology, you can choose, don't have an idea of New York, so you have the BQE and you have the belt. But nevertheless, there's two highways. There's, I think of even a song, A Highway to Heaven, right? So there are two highways to go from this world to highway to hell. Okay, so I think it's a stairway to hell, highway. Okay, that's above my generation. I'm from the 70s. But nevertheless, there are two paths to take me to the world above. What are these two paths? One of them is the path that is called Derech HaTov, the good path, the righteousness. And the other one is Derech Hara, the bad way. There's only two ways. You can either do good or you do bad. You do good, you go to Gan Eden. You do bad, you go and visit Mr. Duma. He decides how much to put the temperature in Gehenom for you. So nevertheless, there are two paths how to get to the world above. And that's how it depends on my behavior. And in order for me to go to the world above, I have to choose which path I'm going on. And he says, Ketz, when it says the uses the Ketz, Ketz leyemina, when it's talking about the right side. Dichtiv leketz leyemin, it's talking about the side, the right side. And there's ketz lismala, there's this ketz, the end of the left side. Dichtiv ketz sham sam lachoshech, ulechol tachlit uchoker. This is a verse from the book of Daniel, the prophet Daniel, and he says, ketz sam lachoshech, the Kadosh Baruch Hu puts an end to darkness, ulechol tachlit uchoker, anything that has a purpose, the Kadosh Baruch Hu knows everything, what's the purpose for it. Saying, in other words, ketz of small, as we are going to explain, this is for the name of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu puts end to darkness and evil, and to all the purpose, then everything that's going to happen, the Kadosh Baruch Hu knows. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And he asks, "Mai ulechol tachlit?" What is he talking about for everything that has a purpose? Ve'amar shemilat tachlit ulashon techale. Tachlit, which is purpose, comes from the word in Hebrew techale. Techale means to destroy and to uproot. Saying, in other words, bezimna dedin asharia al alma leshetza, when the time that the judgments is dwelling on the world to do a kilayon, to completely destroy the world, if you would know what's going on in the heavenly court, you would see that 10, 20, 30, 40 times a day the world is supposed to be destroyed with what we're doing here. It's just unbelievable. Somebody has some type of a merit that calms Hashem down. But nevertheless, we know that the world has din on it every time there's something bad going on. The midat adin, the attribute of judgment, gets aroused and it demands for the world to be destroyed. When midat adin is hovering over the world, as even ofel v'tzalmavet. Then, if you remember, we started talking a little bit about Gehenom, but there's different compartments in Gehenom that are called ofel, tzalmavet, and here he's saying that even ofel v'tzalmavet, they go from their source. Why? They're going down to the world to bring the wicked people to these levels of Gehenom. Ve'ata mefaresh et ketz small. Now he's going to explain a little bit what it means, the ketz of the left side. Excuse me. Ketz sam lachoshech. When he says there's going to be an end for darkness, da malach hamavet. This is referring to the angel of death. And the angel of death is also called a snake, da nachash. This is the snake that we read about last week. Malach hamavet is also called a snake. What does that mean? Hu hanukba de klipa. This is the female side of the klipa. V'lachen nikret ketz, lefi she'alav ne'emar ketz kol basar. Why is it called ketz? Because Malach HaMavet is the one who comes to demolish any type of flesh. Lefi she'u oseh ketz lechol basar. He's the one who comes and kills the humans, or anything, not only humans, any type of flesh, also animals. So Malach HaMavet, he's the one, that's his job. His job is to bring, exactly like his name, angel of death, is to bring death to the world. So he puts an end to things. Ve'od, ketz sam lachoshech. So he's also called choshech. Malach HaMavet is called darkness. The Talmud, when it's describing how the angel of death look, the Talmud says, he's 500 feet high, dressed with a black robe, exactly like I think they have it now they have an image, I think they call it the Undertaker, like a black robe and like not a rake, but like a sickle. So, all the heavy metal bands. So Malach HaMavet, that's what the Talmud says. He's 500 feet high. That's a pretty big guy to deal with. And completely dark. He's darkness. He brings darkness into the world. Deha misitra detocha dedha vakate. Why is that so? Ki mitzad psolet hazahav. If you remember, we talked about it. We talked about that every type of metal in this world is manifested from somewhere in the world above. There's a root to it in the world above. The gold in this world is a manifestation from the world above. But everything has dirt to it, or remaining. So the dirt of gold is where the Sitra Acha was created from. Excuse me? It's not a Rishimu, it's called Psolet. Psolet means the change, or like whatever is remaining. For a Shiraim. For example, when Moshe Rabbeinu made the second set of tablets, he made it from sapphire. So while he was carving it, came a little bit of dust out of it. This is called psolet. And Hashem told him, keep the change. Take the whatever fell down. So Moshe became a gazillionaire because he took this little bit of extra part of the sapphire. Nevertheless, so the dirt that came out of gold, that's where the Malach HaMavet comes from. And this is like the end of the junk of the gvurot, of the judgments. Vesofam, their end, shem bevchinat choshech, and their edges are dark. Misham ba Malach HaMavet. Malach HaMavet comes from there. Ulechol tachlit. What does it mean when the verse says lechol tachlit, for everything that has a purpose? Bezimna de din shari al alma, the time when the judgment is hovering over the world. Hu choker, he's interrogating and looking into lemeheve kategoria le alma. There's a din, a judgment in the world above. And who brings the judgment to the world above? Malach HaMavet. He's the one who's bringing it in, because he's the prosecutor of the world. Le'ashchacha, apehon de viriata. He comes here to darken the face of creations, of humans, saying in other words that he's the one who causes them to sin. Why? Because he wants to get the tzelem off the humans, because the tzelem is a light, or the kedusha, the godly light, and the tzelem, if the person doesn't sin, then the tzelem shines on the face. And if the Satan is able to remove the tzelem, then he's able to kill. If a person has the tzelem Elokim on his face, the Satan, the Malach HaMavet, can't kill him. So he causes us to sin, then we have vulnerability, then he's able to kill. That's how he does it. And we know that if anybody has a tzelem Elokim, a godly image on him, then not only that he can be killed, everybody is afraid of that person in this world. That's why you see individuals like Daniel, the prophet, he was in a pit of lions. The lions were afraid of him because he had a godly image on him. The animals were afraid of him. If you see that an animal is attacking you, you can know that you have no tzelem. But why? An animal sees you as an animal. And if the animal sees you as a human, the animal will be afraid of you. Any type of animal. So this is how you can kind of know where you're holding. You walk in the street and a dog starts barking at you, you say, oh great, he thinks I'm a dog too, so he's barking at me. So this is a meter where I'm holding. But anyways, let's do it real quick. I wanted to read some other part, but we'll do real quick here. Now, this is what we talked about, the ketz of the left side. There's a creation of Malach HaMavet that he comes into uproots and kills and darkens everything in this world. But there's also a ketz to the side or the right side. Ketz le'emina keda'amran. The right side, what does it mean? Dichtiv leketz hayamin, when it says the end of the right side. Amar lekutchabrichu leDaniel. Kadosh Baruch Hu told Daniel the prophet, V'ata lech leketz v'tanuach. You go to the end and rest. Amar le. Daniel asked the Kadosh Baruch Hu, what are you telling me? Go to the end and rest. Well, what is this menucha? What is this rest you're telling me? Behai alma? You're telling me to rest here in this world? Or be'ahu alma? Or are you telling me to rest in the world above? If you're telling me to rest in this world, or are you telling me to rest in the world above? Amar le be'ahu alma. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no. You don't rest in this world. You rest in the world above. But nevertheless, already Kadosh Baruch Hu told Daniel, you go and rest in the world above. Kamadat Amar, as it says, Yanuchu al mishkavotam. This is a verse from Yeshaya, chapter Nuzayin, 57, that it says, Yanuchu al mishkavotam, that you're going to rest when you lie down. Meaning, Sheyanuchu aguf bakever, their body will rest in the body. Vaneshama began Eden. Excuse me? What did I say? Oh, sorry. So the body rests in the grave. Thank you. The body will rest in the grave, and the neshama will rest in Gan Eden. Saying in other words, Shelo yitztarech litgalgel od. This is the source where we know that Daniel, the prophet, didn't come in a reincarnation. If you remember, I spoke a couple times that we all have to come back in reincarnations. We're all reincarnated. But we do know of several individuals that never got reincarnated. We have to come back here at least 3 times to fix all mitzvot, to do all mitzvot in thought, speech, and action. And we went in length in many different other of the lectures why we come back here to get reincarnated. And a couple of times I mentioned that we do know that David HaMelech didn't get reincarnated. There's no reincarnations of David HaMelech. And another one is Daniel the prophet. He never got reincarnated. And this is where we know the source in the Zohar that the Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, you finished what you're supposed to do, you done, go rest in the world above. So Daniel, there's no reincarnations of Daniel the prophet. We know there's reincarnations of the Arizal, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and many others. But on David HaMelech we know there's no reincarnation, and same with Daniel. He told him, you, fine, you can go and rest in Gan Eden. Daniel asked the Kadosh Baruch Hu, at the time of the resurrection of the dead, when everybody will get up from the dust, will I get up with them or not? Saying in other words, he's saying in other words, there are some sins that will cause you, that even if you got the punishment to them in Gan Eden, with that, the person will not get up in the resurrection of the dead. Why? Lefi shelo zacha aguf, because the body doesn't have the merit. Va'nefesh levada tit'aneg began Eden. So the nefesh stays in Gan Eden, but the body will not get up. So there are sins that a person can lose their olam haba, their world to come, but there are sins that you lose your Techiyat Hametim. Now you'll get your olam haba, but you don't come up in Techiyat Hametim. Can you imagine the party's going on and you're stuck up there and they're telling you, we're very sorry, you didn't buy a ticket. So we do know that there are certain sins that a person can lose their Techiyat Hametim. So Daniel told him, am I going to get up in Techiyat Hametim? Amar le, v'ta'amod, don't worry, you'll get up in Techiyat Hametim. Amar le, Daniel asks again to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, ha yedana di yekumun kitot kitot. I mean, I know that the way they're going to get up in the resurrection of the dead, it's going to be groups in groups. Just imagine how it's going to happen. What, the grounds are going to open like convertibles and bodies are going to just come out like, stinks here, I was here for 2,000 years. So I mean, people think they're going to be like zombies coming out of the graves. So Daniel says, I know that in the resurrection of the dead, they're going to come out kitot, like groups. Minhon de zakei kshot. Who are these tzadikei emet, the real righteous people that live their life in truth? Uminhon de chayev alma. Who are the people who are called tzadikei emet? Tzadik is a righteous person, emet is truth. You don't have to be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to be called a tzaddik. You need to live your life of emet. This is what the Kadosh Baruch Hu cares. He doesn't get impressed by black suits, and he doesn't get impressed by knowledge in the Torah. I know people that are not even Jewish and they know Torah more than all of us together. Hashem doesn't get impressed from that. Hashem gets impressed from one thing, how much truth is coming out of your mouth. Karov Hashem lechol korav, we read that 3 times a day. Lechol asher yikreuhu be'emet. Now if you translate the verse, this is a verse from Ashrei Shvevedecha. If you translate the verse, then it says for the ones who will really call him, shikreuhu be'emet. But the real way to translate it is Hashem is close to all the ones who call him in truth. That everything is truth. You say one word of lie on your mouth, that's it, you draw an X. Doesn't matter how genius you are in the Torah, how much charity you give and how black your suit is. Kadosh Baruch Hu gets impressed by emet. A person goes and lies, the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, sorry, this is what I can't tolerate that. That's why I don't understand. I tell people, you don't understand that one of the most severest sins in the Torah is to lie. Nevertheless, so Daniel wants to know who are the tzadikei emet that are going to get up and who are not that are not going to get up. Sorry, I lost the place. Minhon desakei kshot. Who are the ones who are tzadikei emet? Uminhon, who are the chayvei alma? Who are the ones who are not or are wicked and they're not going to get up? V'rabi miyeshenei admat afar yekitzu. Now he says here something pretty scary. This can be found in the end of the book of Daniel. He says, some will get up in the resurrection of the dead to have eternal life. And you know that some will get up to be embarrassed, to be shamed. Hashem will rise them up, that they will stand and everybody will point fingers and be like, that's the one. And they're going to experience shame that they would wish that they would not get up. So this again is sourced in the book of Daniel. So some people say, oh great, I'm going to be rising up in the resurrection of the dead. Yeah, but don't be so excited. You might not be the star. You might be the one that everybody's going to look at and be like, oh, so it was you. And Daniel says, I don't know which one I'm going to get up. This is a level of a true tzaddik, that he thinks that he is going to get up with one of the ones who are going to be embarrassed. Yeah, exactly. Yochanan ben Zakkai said the same thing. I'm going to meet my Creator now. I'm afraid. He was crying before he died. The students told him, you crying? He's like, yeah, I'm afraid. I'm going to meet my Creator. I don't know where I'm holding. What if happens if I'm from the evil side, from the wicked side, and I'm going to go to the bad side? This is basically telling you, in other words, don't count on your actions and think you're doing so great. You know, the Mishnah says in the Tractate Avot, Al tismoch al atzmecha ad yom motach. Don't count on yourself till the last day you live here. So what if you have a black suit? Doesn't mean anything. Maybe you have some sins in your back that you never took care of. Daniel the prophet says, maybe I have something on my credit that will use, chas v'shalom, will be bad. Amar le, the Kadosh Baruch Hu answered, amart. Sorry, Daniel says to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you also said, v'ata lech laketz. Yeah, Daniel approaches Hashem and says, you told me, go to the end. Maybe this is not bad, good news for me. And I know, it ketz leyemina, there's an end on the right side, ve'it ketz lesmala, there's a ketz on the left side. Ketz of yemin, of the right side, this is going to Gan Eden. I'm going to a good place. But there's also a ketz on the, ketz means an end. Onto the left side, it means I'm going to end up in Gehenom. I don't know where exactly. V'la yedana le'en ketz. I don't know which ketz are you talking about. Leketz hayamin or leketz hayamim. Ketz hayamin is the right side. Ketz hayamim with a mem is ketz of the days. That's it, you're done, you're out. So Daniel was afraid, he didn't know if he's going to Gan Eden or going to Gehenom. Amar le, Hashem told him, don't worry, my dear prophet, leketz hayamin, you're going to the right side. You're going to Gan Eden, shemiyad beptiratcha, right as you die, telech le Gan Eden. You're going right to Gan Eden. You're not going to even go into through Gehenom. I told you we all have to go through Gehenom. The corridor to Gan Eden is going through Gehenom. But there is a back entrance to the VIPs. So Daniel got approval. Hashem told him, you're going from the back entrance into Gan Eden. You have nothing to worry about. Uf, hacha, David. The same thing David HaMelech wanted to know. Uf, hacha, David, amar lelekut shabrichu. Hodieni Hashem kitzi. David HaMelech didn't want to look the date. He said, I don't care about the date. I want to know where I'm going. I want to know if I'm going to Gan Eden or if I'm going to Gehenom. Ma ihu chulak adbi. What is my portion after when I die? Am I going right to Gan Eden like Daniel a prophet, or am I going to stop in Gehenom? Vela nach date. David HaMelech didn't soothe his mind. He didn't sleep. Till Hashem told him, don't worry, David, I'm sending you also to Gan Eden. You're going in the path of Daniel. You have nothing to worry about. You're going on the right path. Dichtiv, as it says, in Tehillim Lametet, Shev li yemini, you're going to sit on the right side. That this means Ketz Hayamin, that David HaMelech goes and went right into Gan Eden. This is again the source that we know that David HaMelech and Daniel, they didn't get reincarnated. They finished their job and they went into Gan Eden. Now we ran out of time. Maybe we will continue a little bit next week. Excuse me?
They come back as Ibur.
No. As an Ibur, yeah. As an Ibur, they do come back. Ibur is called an impregnation. But as a Gilgul, they don't come. There's a big difference between an impregnation and an incarnation. Gilgul, the neshama comes back into the body. Impregnation, that it comes and dresses on a living body with a soul in it, and it comes to assist the person. Nevertheless, maybe tomorrow we'll do a little bit before Shabbat what I wanted to do today. But nevertheless, what we need to take from that, because to learn all the mystical things is very nice, but we need to take it into a practical level. And I need to know something very, very simple. We'll be short with the conclusion. You don't know where you're going. don't let this fool you. Don't stand in front of the mirror and say to yourself, they're waiting there with violins in Gan Eden for me. Don't fool yourself. And you know what? Sometimes people will tell you, you're doing amazing. You showed up to the minyan today. Hashem loves you. Don't be fooled because you don't know where you're holding. If David the Melech was afraid, if Daniel the prophet were afraid, so much more so we need to be afraid. Because I don't know where my tshuva is holding. You know, when I became observant, I came to a very big rabbi and I told him, listen, I'm very sorry, I'm very embarrassed, but this is my resume. Well, what do I need to do? I stole millions of dollars. I embezzled millions of dollars. I hurt thousands of people. I cheated. I lied. How do I even start fixing it? So just doing good, it's one thing. But how do you fix the bad? So he told me for this, do that. And when I told him, what about money? You know how crooked I was in business? I was a millionaire because I cheated everything that moved. I had such a sharp tongue. I would sell air to dead people. How do I do tshuva for that? So if I owe you $1,000, I know to give it back to you. But what about the ones I don't know? So he told me, so feed people on Shabbat. That's it. He's like, yeah, feed people on Shabbat. Because Shabbat, it's a mitzvah to eat. If you can feed poor people, even better. But feed people on Shabbat. And I told him, for how long? He's like, for as long as you can. So in the beginning, I told you, the first 7 years when I was learning in yeshiva, I had a business, I had all the money. I used to buy the food for 3 shuls for the kiddush every Shabbat. Nobody knew it's me. Now I didn't come with a check. I came with a box with food. I went to buy the food so I can sweat, so I can fall in the snow, and I lived in New York. And nobody knew it's me. I would come with the lax, with the cold cuts, with the everything. And as long as I could. I had a business and money was doing very well. So and nobody ever knew. And up until today, not that I'm trying to schwitz, yeah, but up until today, I told my wife, we're going to feed people till the last day of our life. We're going to feed them on Shabbat. I'm not going to buy myself another pair of shoes or another suit or drive a car. I don't even have a car. I'm going to feed people on Shabbat because I don't know how far my damage is gone. I don't want to get up to Shamayim after 120 years and they tell me you did amazing but only 80%. So our sages tell us, V'chol chayecha yu b'tshuva. Till the last breath you take in this world, you don't know how much your tshuva is covering the cracks that you did. And here we have a very fundamental teaching that yes, you have to tap yourself on your back when you're doing great. I'm becoming more observant, I learn more Torah, I do more mitzvot. But don't think for 1 second that there are things left behind. Look at Yaakov Avinu, he was a gazillionaire in money. We're going to read it in a few weeks. He made a U-turn to go back to bring some little pitchers of oil. Why are you going for oil? You're a gazillionaire. Who cares about these pitchers of oil? He's like, there's many other explanations for that. If you remember in Hanukkah, we learned that these were the souls that were stuck in the klippah. We had a beautiful class about that. But nevertheless, Yaakov says, I don't know, when I'm going back to Haran, to this horrible place, I don't know what I'm leaving behind. I'm not leaving nothing behind. I'm taking everything. Even something as small, I'm not leaving nothing. And needless to say, I have to understand that all my efforts are amazing, but don't think for 1 second, that's it, what did he tell you? Go and rest. When Hashem told Daniel, whoa, you're telling me to rest already in this world? That's not good news. You don't rest till the last breath of your life. Needless to say, that we have to understand that the reward, the body gets a reward and the soul gets a reward. If the body gets a reward, it will get up in resurrection of the dead. If the body doesn't get a reward, the body will stay in the grave and the soul will still live. But it doesn't mean it's going to get the present to be resurrected. And it can be vice versa. A person can be resurrected at Techiyat Hametim, but not get Olam Haba. So we need to learn what are the things that will prevent me from not getting up in Techiyat Hametim. What are the things that are going to prevent me from not getting Olam Haba? And the things that are most connected to us is Lashon Hara. A person who speaks Lashon Hara and no chelek Olam Haba doesn't get resurrected, doesn't have Olam Haba. And a person that steals, Gezel, and many other things, malveh beribit, it's things that we need to learn. We need to learn. Sometimes you can mess up all your hard work from taking something that is worth 10%, 10 cents. So So the message we want to take from that, I don't know if we'll continue where we took off, maybe next week we'll do already the next parasha, but the point to take from that is that, needless to say, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu loves, appreciates, and sees everything that we do, but we can't feel comfortable at any given moment that, oh no, I'll do fine, because you don't know, sometimes you can do something and the damage is so deep that doesn't matter, even if you cover it up. Now we brought this guy, you saw the guy walking in and out to fix some things. There was an earthquake a few months ago. Remember when I was in England, there was an earthquake. When I came back, I saw where the cracks are. If you look up there, you'll see cracks. So, Baruch Hashem, I told you already, I'm a photographer. I remember nothing moves without me noticing. So when I came back, right away I told my wife, look, here's the cracks. She was like, how would you even see that? I said, because I take pictures of everything. Somebody will touch one of my books, moves a millimeter. Who touched the book? Where? So my poor kids, I walk into the home. Why is this moved? So nevertheless, so I saw all the cracks right away. There was an earthquake. So we brought the person to cover up. So there are two ways to cover the cracks. Just to cover it with plaster, and then you don't see a crack. And that's the cheap and not worth way. Or you go in and you see, okay, maybe the crack caused something to move. And chas v'shalom, if I cover it up, it would look good. But down the line, it will deteriorate and chas v'shalom crash, or chas v'shalom something serious can happen. So same with us. A lot of people put black suits on. This is just covering over the crack. Not that I'm against black suits. I wear a black suit. But we can't be fooled by our own actions that, oh, I'm doing great. I have a yarmulke. So I have to understand that the damage that I did goes way, way back. And when we're all in our 40s, 50s, 60s, I don't know what I did in my 20s. I don't know what I did when I'm 19. You think I remember what I did 30 years ago? I don't know how back the damage goes. Now, since I don't know exactly where I'm damaged, then I need to spread my wings everywhere, and not to. Sometimes I see people when they become observant, they're like, no, I'm just gonna do this, and that. I'm fine with the minimum. Don't be fine with the minimum. You're putting your eternity at risk here. And I know it sounds harsh, and I know people say it's too hard. I know you put too much pressure. It's nothing to do with putting pressure or sound harsh. You have now an opportunity. We mentioned before that we don't know lights can go out like that. The switch, it takes one flick and the switch is down. Every day, just today, I usually don't go and listen to the news. Today I was looking at some stuff. You know how many people died today? It's unbelievable. Here in Israel. Car accidents, this, that, a fire here, fire there, this. This is every day people are dying. It's unbelievable. And any given moment it can happen like that. I'll finish with some good news. Something at least a little bit joyful. Because I said, people are dying. A few years ago, when we still lived in America, then we were looking to relocate wherever we lived, and we went to somewhere in New Jersey to look for houses. And the realtor took us to this house, that house, and the realtor says, I have a beautiful house for you, I know what you like, and she took us to this house, okay. And everything looked good. Price was good, everything was well, and I was like, how come the price is so low? She didn't want to tell me that on the other side of the house is a cemetery. So we go out of the house to this beautiful, massive backyard, and I see a cemetery. And she was like, well, she was trying to cover it up, and I told her, no, this is great. I have no problem with the cemetery. She was like, really? And I told her, no, it's a great place to be. People are dying to get there. So she didn't get my joke, of course. But so we want to die to live, not die to die. So we have to, like I said before, we have to appreciate every breath that Hashem gives us. Yesterday morning in Rosh Chodesh we talked about the tribe of the month Menashe, and we said Menashe is the same letters of Neshama. David HaMelech says, Kol Neshama Tehallel. We constantly have to praise Hashem for every good thing that He does for us, and we have to choose the right path to the world above, not to the left path to the world above. And it's our choice, and I think it's a rhetorical, I don't know if you can say a rhetorical choice, but it's an obvious choice. I don't know why would somebody choose the left side when you can choose the right side. A lefty. I mean a lefty this or lefty in your political opinions. If you're in the... So... No, the right side, I mean the tzad yamin, the side of chesed and righteousness. And if you're a lefty in your political opinions, I think you're not going to get resurrected in the... So, but I'm joking, of course. I have nothing against the Republicans, the Democrats. But anyways, this is all jokes, of course. We have to know how to smile and do a joke about life, but we have to take everything serious. It's not a joke. B'ezrat Hashem, I hope we all make the right decision, that we choose the right side, that we're not only going to see the coming of Mashiach, we're going to see each other after we brush off all the dirt, and it's a little bit dark there for a couple hundred years. And B'ezrat Hashem, Be'emet, I hope that the point is that we should take that and adopt a way of living that I choose to do the right thing. And in every situation that I have a moment to think, what am I doing the right in the eyes of Hashem, or the negative in the eyes of Hashem? And Hashem loves truth and emet, and you have to be truthful to yourself. You don't lie to yourself. It's very easy to lie to yourself. You be honest with yourself and you say, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? And you know what? Hashem gives you the most credit points when you are honest, and when you're saying, listen, it's hard for me, I don't want to, whatever, but at least you say the emet. B'ezrat Hashem, with that, we really have the ability to choose the right side, and needless to say, that will take us to a good place, Gan Eden, Techiyat Hametim, Olam Haba. And needless to say, the more of us do good, then we merit to see the coming of Mashiach with our own eyes, not see it from the screens in the world above. We should see it with our physical eyes very, very soon. ויחנניה בן הקשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.